Hey, and welcome back to my channel. This is my second latest video that I'm gonna upload, and yeah, I mean, if you'd watched my previous video, you know that I have been going through a journey and I hadn't filmed. I wanted to film, just didn't get around to doing it, and then I recently started again in the past week. So I'm doing the intro and someone's calling me already. Okay, so I need to think about what I just said, my last thing that I said. Why can't I not remember what I said? Okay, either way, my mind's gone blank. This video is gonna be about what it's like to be a young mum. I'm 20, and when I fell pregnant, I was 19 years old. And that is fairly young considering most people my age, almost everyone my age, is either just working or in uni or doing whatever, and they're not really thinking about having children. So I just wanted to talk about my experience with pregnancy and my experience with becoming a mum and all the in-between until now. Obviously I can't cover absolutely everything because, you know, I really have, I don't even know what it's called, but like mum memory is just not good at all. I can hardly remember anything. I can hardly literally remember what I did yesterday. So I'm gonna have to think really hard about like my experience of pregnancy and just some topics that I want to talk about, and hopefully you guys will find it interesting, and maybe it will even help someone out there that is pregnant and young, or is a new mum, or is a young mum, anyone literally. I'm even going to talk about mental health. So yeah, let's get on with the video. I also will be answering some questions that I asked you guys about on Instagram, and I even have some questions that I have screenshotted from last year when I was pregnant, because I was going to do a video but I never got around to doing it. So I'm also going to answer those questions, and I'm either going to do it like throughout the video bit by bit or at the end, because if a story is flowing I don't want to interrupt it because I'll forget. So yeah, okay, first off I'm going to start with the moment that I found out I was pregnant. So I need to think, I need to concentrate. So I was a few days late on my period, as most people find out that way, and I didn't actually think I was pregnant at all, but I wanted to double check. So I did take a pregnancy test and it said I was pregnant, and I think I took 5 pregnancy tests just to make sure. Like, I could not believe it the moment I saw that it said that I was pregnant. I was extremely shocked and scared, and I was just upset, really. I didn't really know what to think. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to tell. And yeah, I mean, that in itself is a tough process, because it's not like it was planned or I felt like I had everything and it would just be okay that this happened. It was a really, really tough thing that in that very moment to have to deal with and go through. And I told my family, and not everyone in my family was supportive of the situation. I mean, my mum, most part of my family were really supportive, and they said that, you know, we all sat down and had a conversation about how this is going to change my life, and it's not easy, it will never be easy, and that if I wanted to carry on, that it was important for me to know that I was gonna have support no matter what. So obviously carried on with the pregnancy, even though I actually wasn't sure what I was gonna do. You know, I did think about abortion, and you know, that was because I'm young. I was working part-time and full-time, but I didn't have my career laid out in front of me. I didn't have my own house. You know, I was just a teenager, just living day by day. So, you know, abortion was taken into account, and you know, I just knew to myself what I needed to do and what my decision was. And I wanted to, you know, go through with this, and I knew it was going to be tough, but you don't realize how tough it's going to be until you actually go through it. So my pregnancy overall, because it's kind of hard to define moment by moment, but my pregnancy overall was very, very tough. It took the life out of me. I was depressed every single day, and I literally mean every single day. There's 3 trimesters in a pregnancy, and the first trimester was, I think it was the first trimester. The first trimester was the worst. I was depressed every single day, and I mean, I did not go outside. I laid in bed. I slept pretty much all day. I wasn't eating properly. I felt really lonely. I felt like I didn't have any friends. I felt like I had no family. I felt like I had no one. I felt like I was in this alone, and you know, the fact that I didn't have my own house, the fact that I didn't have loads of money or any money, you know, I was still working during my pregnancy, and you know, that's tough in itself. And I wasn't out here earning millions like Kylie Jenner, or billions should I say. You know, I'm earning like minimum wage, and that in itself was really, really tough. And I am such a person that likes to have everything perfect around me, you know, like my home, and you know, even the way I look. I just felt like I've always been that person that just wants everything to look prim and nice, and I didn't have that, you know. I didn't have the house that I wanted. I don't even have my own home now, you know, this is rented. But at that moment in time when I was pregnant, I wasn't in the house that I wanted to always have been in to then have a baby. I didn't have my career, you know. My career, for me, it felt like it was gone forever. Like I was never gonna do it. It was just, honestly, I think the hardest time of my entire life. And I remember it was one of the hottest summers last year in the UK, I'm sure, and I literally did not see a ray of sunshine. I did not go outside. I did not enjoy myself. You know, I was so depressed that I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. And yeah, and I literally cried every single day. every single day I cried, you know. I was just miserable about everything, and it meant that I really didn't enjoy my pregnancy. I didn't sit back and think I should just enjoy this no matter what's going on, you know. I didn't realize that back then, and I never had a baby shower until today. Like, that still upsets me, because if only I knew then what I knew now, that I should have just enjoyed that experience of being pregnant instead of being like unhappy and wanting more, and, you know, being upset with my situation and what I didn't have around me. And I should have just been more open. And, you know, you can't help if you have, you know, depression or anxiety. You can't help those things that you go through, you know. It comes naturally. You know, mental health is a really, really serious thing, and, you know, even though there's so much more awareness about it now, and it's becoming okay to open up about it and talk about it, it's still a huge problem, because, you know, there's this massive life on social media that everyone sees, and it looks amazing, it's glamorous, no one's upset, no one's going through shit, everything is perfect, you have all the money, your home is perfect, this blah blah blah, is one thing after the other, and that is not real. You know, every single person in their life goes through some shit, and that's just the way it is. And some people, most people, are really good at hiding it. You know, I did that. I hid that throughout my pregnancy, that I was completely and utterly going through a mental breakdown, to be honest. And, you know, yeah, I was afraid to tell anyone. You know, I was even ashamed that I was going through such an amazing experience, but why wasn't I happy? You know, you always see people on Instagram, you know, pregnant, and it all seems really lovely and nice and amazing, and this experience you're going through is magical, and it was not magical for me one little bit. You know, obviously there were times where I felt like this was amazing and I was happy, but those moments were very little and they didn't last for long. You know, the most part of it, I was just really depressed and I didn't know who I was. I lost myself completely, and I didn't even know how to tell people because I was so embarrassed and ashamed, and I just wanted my life to look like how everyone else's life is looking like on Instagram. When it got to my third trimester, which is probably, I think it's 3 months, like in the end of your pregnancy. So maybe when I was 6 months pregnant, 6.5 months pregnant, I actually started feeling a little better, and that was, a big part of that was because my hormones had started to balance out after that whole big change of being pregnant, becoming pregnant. And I was starting to feel better actually, and you know, I wasn't as upset all the time, or depressed. I still was depressed, but I didn't feel as horrible as I did throughout the whole other time, and it was probably about 6 months. And I think that's when I actually started making the YouTube videos. You know, I really felt like I needed to do something that I wanted to do and would make me happy, and no matter how scared I was to do it, because I was terrified, and I'm sure when you watch the videos you're like, you know, this girl, she even looks kind of depressed. You know, the way that I was talking and whatnot, I was really scared, I was really nervous, I had a lot of anxiety and I had depression. But I still wanted to do it because I wanted to do that for myself. I needed to do something to make me feel better, and I did that, and it actually did help a lot. But it only lasted for a short while because, you know, when you're pregnant, you're super tired. You go for a wee 1,000 times a day. You know, it was hard for me to keep up as much as I wanted to. And I was still going through a lot within my personal life, and, you know, with depression and anxiety. You know, I was still dealing with that on a very deep level. Do you know, I will do a video about my actual labour. I'll probably do it in the next few weeks because I need to get my mind together about the whole experience, if I remember it fully. Yeah, obviously I gave birth to Nalia in January, at the end of January, the 29th. And the day I gave birth, I had some complications. So that was really tough. But honestly, I mean, I'll do a whole video about it, but I was put to sleep after I gave birth, and when I woke up, I couldn't move for about 10 hours. But I was still a bit high off the drugs. So I woke up in a very good mood, even though I couldn't move. But that eventually wore off, and that night in the hospital, obviously Nalia stayed with me. But my family and David, which is Nalia's dad, had to leave, and it was very, very emotional, very sad and depressing. I didn't want to be alone. Like, I'm a new mum, you know, I'd already been going through loads of stuff. I definitely did not want to be left alone to look after a baby. You know, that happened, and we went home the next day. And I think it lasted just over a week. I was at my happiest. You know, I don't know if I can't remember if I cried or not, but if I had cried, I was probably happy. I just felt so full, and I felt so much love. Literally, I woke up the day after we got home. I woke up, I did my makeup, I did my hair, got dressed. I felt so good. I felt so good to not be pregnant. I felt so good to have Nalia. I felt so good to be at home. And yeah, for about a week and a half, I was at my highest. And then, you know, I think it didn't kick in straight away, you know, all of these changes that were happening. And a week after, I think, obviously, when everyone has come to see your baby, and, you know, you're going through this massive excitement and happiness, after like 2 weeks fly by, it kind of dies down and it's all more real. And, you know, you start to feel really tired from sleepless nights and, you know, long days. And it's not so much of it's long and hard because your baby's going everywhere, because your baby literally does nothing but lay in your arms. You feed her, your baby, you change their nappy, you make sure they're good and healthy and warm and whatnot, but it's draining because you're not used to it. You know, it's the start of becoming a parent, and it's a lot, it's a massive change. So you as yourself and your body, you're getting used to that. And I must say that I've been breastfeeding since the moment Nalia was born. I stopped feeding, I think 3 weeks ago. I stopped breastfeeding, and I think it was 3 days after we came back from the hospital. My midwife was at my house, and we were we tried to express. I had a little pump. Used to like press a button and it would vibrate and like it would take the milk out. And I pumped every single day because I would put the bottles in the fridge, and when it came to the night time, David was actually waking up and feeding Nalia with the bottles, which was massive help to me because I was so tired and exhausted and I really needed rest. And you know, having David to help me with that was really important and really, you know, it was just, I needed it. But that lasted for about maybe like 2 months, because then it, you know, you kind of get used to it, and I was then feeding in the nights just on my breast. Yeah, what should I go on to next? I mean, when was it? 3 months after Nalia was born, we moved flats, and we moved to a bigger flat, a 2-bedroom, because we were in a 1-bedroom. Moved to a 2-bedroom, and you know, there was literally nothing here. It was just a pile of shit, really, but it had potential, and obviously the way it is now is what its potential could have been. So yeah, but in the beginning when we moved, it was a really tough move. You know, I'm such a person where that needs to be there and that needs to be there, and my clothes and that, you know, and nothing was where it was, and we were staying at my mum's, and you know, it's just such a tough time, especially with a baby. And me having to always have dealt with depression and anxiety, it just kind of ramped it up. It was like a trigger. So that was really hard. That was a really tough time. And then beyond that, it kind of just spiraled out of control, and you know, I actually began to just feel more depressed, and I felt more low within myself. And you know, this has just been an ongoing thing since I was pregnant, even maybe before I was pregnant, but it's become worse since I've gone through this journey. And you know, I'm always battling with myself, with, especially, the main thing is like my career. I thrive off of doing stuff that I love to do, you know, that is for myself, not me being a mummy, but me being Georgia, and like getting things done and succeeding and being happy and fulfilled in that way. And yeah, I've just always been at war with myself about what I should be doing and what I'm not doing. And you know, I've really had to come to terms with the fact that I can't be impatient with what I want, and it's not going to happen in a day. It doesn't happen for anyone in a day, and if it does, you know, you're just that lucky sod that got it. You know, the ones that win the lottery and all that jazz. But yeah, you know, I've just had to come to terms with, you have to put in hard work no matter what. No matter what your talent, you need to learn the skills, you need to experience it, and you need to work as hard as you bloody can to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And no matter, for me, it's like seeing other people doing amazing things, and I'm sat here like, I want to be doing that, and I want to be doing this. I'm like, why am I not doing that? You know, I'm never gonna do it, you know, because they're doing it and I don't have time. But I do. I'm 20 and I have the rest of my life, and you know, whatever other people are doing, that's their journey, and this is my journey, and I need to stop looking at everyone else thinking, oh, what are they doing? Because if I'm so worried about what they're doing, I'm not doing what I need to do. But yeah, becoming a mum overall, there's this thing you receive as a parent when you become a parent for the first time, whether you're a mum or a dad, especially a mum. I mean, my experience, especially as being a mum, there's this undeniable, crazy kind of love that you have for your child or your children. You know, no matter how low I feel, the reason why I wake up, the reason why I get food, the reason why I carry on, the reason why I picked up this camera, the reason why I do anything is because I do it for Nalia. You know, if I don't wake up, who's gonna look after Nalia? So I have to wake up as early as ever she gets up. I have to wake up in the night. I have to feed her. I have to make food. I have to go out and make sure that she's having fun. I have to make sure that she's learning what she needs to learn. I need to make sure that she's content and happy, and you know, that's the main thing. That's what really keeps me going. And because of that massive push that she has given me, it has made me become such a stronger person. I don't feel like, I mean, there are days where I feel like I'm nothing, but when I think about her and I look at her little cute face, or she does something funny, or she does something new, it is such a boost to my system, you know, that I created her and she's doing all these amazing things, and you know, she's just happy. She's just a little baby and she's just growing, and it is the most amazing experience you'll ever feel in your life, you know. And it is really something you'll only experience when you become a parent. Yeah, she really keeps me going. She's kept me going through every single thing that has happened, and most importantly, the past few weeks, maybe a month to 2 months, you know, I've really grown as a person. And I've, you know, it was only 2 months ago I was crying every day, and I was depressed every day, and I had anxiety every day, and I was falling apart again, you know. But yeah, the past month it's become a lot easier, and I think I've just grown, you know, not just mentally, but I feel like I've matured a lot as well. It doesn't mean I was immature before, but there's a different kind of mature where you're like, I shouldn't be sobbing about that shit. Like, why am I still crying about the same old shit? Why am I sat here moaning, and why am I sat here saying, oh, I don't have this and I don't have that? You know, you need to grow out of that and mature in a way that's like, be thankful for what you have now. Be thankful for what's going on. Be thankful that you're even gonna wake up tomorrow. You know, that in itself is so important. But yeah, even till today, you know, I still find it tough seeing people my age, you know, do things with their lives that I wish I was doing. But it doesn't really matter what other people are doing. You know, I'm starting this journey now, and you know, this journey started a long time ago anyway, but it's just been waiting for me to make different choices and to grow, you know. I feel like I'm ready now to be a different person. I feel like I'm ready to make different choices. And I would also like to say that since I had Nalia, I'd started to develop an eating disorder. before I was, I think it was like the month that I found out I was pregnant, so I probably would have been about 4 weeks pregnant when you don't actually put on any weight yet. I was weighed with my midwife, and I was 8 stone 6. And at the moment I'm 8 stone, and I've been 8 stone for the past 2 months. So that's a huge difference. Usually people don't lose their baby weight until maybe even a year after they've had their baby. You know, it just depends on how much you work out and whatnot, and I haven't worked out once since I had Nalia. You know, obviously I'm young, so like my body's a bit different to people that are maybe a little bit older, and I've naturally had a good metabolism, but mainly it's because I haven't been eating properly since I had Nalia. You know, most days I didn't even have a meal, it would just be a snack. And it's just because I'm the type of person that if I have the energy and the time to do something, I want to clean, I want to get shit done, I want to make sure Nalia's good, make sure I'm rested, make sure I'm all of these other things, and make sure everything else is done. But the one thing that I always put off was eating, and it's just become a habit since I was pregnant, really, that I just stopped eating, and you know, having a meal at certain times of the day just didn't really matter to me anymore. You know, I had other responsibilities and I wasn't looking after myself, and that comes with like being depressed and going through all of these other things in my life. And you know, it goes the other way. You can have an eating disorder where you eat loads, you know, you eat when you're happy, when you're sad, all sorts. But yeah, I really struggled with eating, and it started to change because Nalia has solid foods now, so she has breakfast, lunch and dinner, and has milk in between, and that's really encouraged me to eat for myself, because I want Nalia to eat fresh food. So I want to cook and I want to make her actual food from scratch, and you know, in doing that I'm making my own food, making her food as well, because we'll share whatever I'm gonna make, and her food will just be blended. But that has really boosted me to eat meals, you know, even if I don't eat 3 meals a day, which I don't. At the most, sometimes I'll have 1 meal a day, and usually it's dinner, you know. Sometimes I don't eat anything until dinner, but I'm trying to recognize that if I'm not eating, then I'm not going to be feeling good, and that's just gonna rub off on Nalia, because if I don't have the energy, or I'm tired, or you know, me even looking pale and skinny in areas of my body, you know, Nalia's soon gonna recognize that. She's gonna recognize that I'm not eating, and what if she thinks it's okay for me to not eat too? Because my mommy doesn't eat when we sit down for breakfast or lunch or dinner. So it's become really apparent to me that, you know, I need to be eating as much as Nalia, or however much I need. And you know, just even for my self-esteem, I've been really pale because I don't eat, and you know, it makes me feel disgusting, which is the truth. It makes me feel disgusting. For a few months this year, I'm pretty sure I felt, I don't even look in the mirror anymore, so I don't even want to see what other people are seeing. You know, I actually honestly just felt disgusting about myself. And there's still days now where I'm like, I'm still looking pale. You know, I need to do my nails. You know, I want to put some makeup on for once. I want to do my hair. I literally don't brush my hair weeks at a time, and that's purely because my excuse is that I don't have time. You know, when I get out of the shower, I want to hurry up and get all my shit on and carry on, and it was time to sit there and brush their fucking hair. But you know, when I do brush my hair, I'm like, oh, my hair, it's amazing. I don't know how long it was. You know, most of the time I just chuck it up in a bun and I don't even brush it. So, you know, I'm really growing, and it has taken a long time. You know, I remember when Nalia turned 6 months old, that was the first time I realized I could multitask with Nalia. That I could have a shower and still look after Nalia at the same time, because I felt like if I needed to have a shower, someone else needed to be there to look after Nalia, because, you know, and I wasn't even showering until days at a time because I felt like I needed someone there to help me, or I felt like I couldn't make dinner for myself because I didn't have the time, you know, I needed someone to look after Nalia. So it was only until she was 6 months old that I realized that I could multitask, that I could look after Nalia, watch her, make sure she was good and happy and fine, and still do the stuff that I need to do in the day, like have a shower and clean and make food. And, you know, these are just things that you learn as you grow with your baby, because you got no choice. You know, you really don't have a choice. Otherwise, things are just gonna start sliding down the hill, and you don't want that to happen. I hope that everything I just said made sense, and I hope I didn't miss anything out, because I'm sure when I turn this camera off, there's gonna be things that pop into my head and I'm like, oh, I should have mentioned that, I should have mentioned this, I should have mentioned that. I'm just trying to think about things that would be quite helpful for people that are young, or even just having a baby in general.